weeks. Remdesivir has been in the news today, and we understand that it's likely to be the first treatment approved at the European level. Have you made an assessment of its prospects over the last few weeks?
We've been keeping a very close eye on Remdesivir indeed, and I do understand that the CHMP, the European Approval Committee, has made a provisional recommendation in favour of Remdesivir. That will take now a period of time, usually a matter of a few weeks. It's mainly procedural before there would be a European licence for Remdesivir. The decision has been made on the basis of the US clinical trial data, which shows that patients who are hospitalised with moderate severity with COVID-19, their length of stay in hospital is reduced. There is a suggestion, and I think I'd call it no more than that in the data, that mortality may also be reduced, but that's not a clear or statistically significant signal. The size of that trial is completely dwarfed by the kind of trial size and comparison size that recovery can make. And I'm cautious at the moment about whether there will be or will not be, there may be, a mortality signal with Remdesivir. But that is a bit different to dexamethasone. It's an unlicensed product in the European area until licensed by the EMA. And it is a medicine that is, as I understand it, relatively difficult to manufacture, and because it is not yet licensed, will be in much less plentiful quantities or less easy to obtain than dexamethasone.
I understand. And will you make a separate assessment of it, or will you draw on the US trial data or the European assessment?
Well, in a sense, the assessment has already been made, in the sense that the company concerned have applied for an emergency access to medicines scheme run by the MHRA. Mm-hmm. That has been granted, and already patients in the UK healthcare system, the NHS, can obtain Remdesivir.
And
there is a protocol for that. It has been available now for several weeks, right, and stocks are available.
So it's open to any NHS physician treating people with COVID, yes, to prescribe it?
Subject to certain conditions and in hospitalised patients, yes.
Thank you. And finally, you'll have read today that the US has announced that it's bought up the prospective production, I think, of Remdesivir, 100% of the production for July, 90% for August and September. And Germany, I think, has said that it has secured enough supplies. Do you have a concern that it's not going to be available to UK patients?
So right now, there are stocks in the UK, and I judge us to have adequate stocks of pre-licensed, as in unlicensed clinical trial stocks of Remdesivir, which are available to be used through the emergency access protocol that I talked about. But it illustrates the point that depending upon which medicine you discover works for COVID-19, if it's one of the ones that is already licensed for something else that one can repurpose, then it tends to be plentifully available. And if it's an old drug, there are many manufacturers often making generic versions of the same drug. But if it's something brand spanking new, as it were, from a new developer, it is likely to be in relatively short supply in the first instance. But I do know that the commercial teams in the Department of Health and Social Care are working extremely hard in this area.